everybody, it's Preacher, and I'm glad today to be bringing you the Elemental Shaman. Yeah, that big beast that is just straight out fun. There's not much else to say about this one other than you have an absolute blast every time you play it. It's so difficult not to enjoy an Elemental Shaman that I encourage everybody to give it a try. As much as it can be an absolute nightmare to level a Shaman, it certainly is enhancement. Sorry, all enhancement Shamans. I don't really have a place in my heart for you. And if certainly leveling as Resto, that's going to take you a little while. But Elemental is just so much fun, especially when you get a little bit of gear and you start to see all these things coming together. Let's get into it. So if you do try one out, especially with your free boosted level 90, courtesy of the Warlords of Drano, then maybe you can actually have a little bit of fun with it as well. So, basic talent setup, actually, at level 15, we've got some sort of defensive. It's hard to argue with Astral Shift, right? 40% damage reduction, 1.5 minute cooldown. Yes, please. Give me that every single day. At level 30, we've got some sort of raid utility. We are classically a hybrid spec. Got to remember that is the Ele Shaman. There's always been this hybrid. One of the classic hybrid specs, especially back in vanilla. And it's developed to still maintain some of its hybrid utility. So take full advantage of that, because that's where you start to stand out from the crowd. If you want to be a really good Elemental Shaman, it's because you're actually bringing things in from this hybrid style. So Windwalk Tome tends to be a go-to. Obviously, it's like a hand of freedom for your whole raid. There's not always the occasion to make that worthwhile, okay? If your raid doesn't need it, there you go. But Earth Grab Totem is similarly kind of situational, and other classes can kind of do it better. It's got to be said. Frozen Power is generally quite useless in PvE scenarios. Windwalk Totem will generally be the one you take, but find an occasion to use it, and then let people know that you've used it. Even make a giant raid macros like, Windwalk Totem used! I are the shit. And then people will know about it. At level 45, I actually don't like any of these. Call of the Elements is pretty cool sometimes, immediately finishing the cooldown of your sort of average run-of-the-mill totems, gotta be said. Totemic Persistence, any of these you want. Again, with a lot of talents, it comes down to personal preference, or mainly what the encounter demands. Totemic Projection for me is like my go-to. Saves you a global cooldown. Yeah, it's instant cast, so it saves you a global cooldown. Fine. But other than that, they're kind of boring, in my opinion. That's just the way I think about them. At level 60, you basically got two choices. It's like the Echo of the Elements, which is just fantastic, by the way. It lines up so nicely with your mastery that we're going to talk about soon. And this thing scales ridiculously, okay? I've got to say, it scales so well with your gear and the way your Elemental Shaman works, that every drop, every piece of item level you slap on to your Elemental Shaman, Echo the Elements just gets better and better and better. I kind of have to give the shout out to Elemental Mastery, otherwise people will rage. If something needs to die, ASAS fucking P, or the raid's gonna die, you know, you've got one of these tentacle jobbers or some sort of aspect of the fight that's like, oh my god, if we don't kill this, the whole raid is over, then you're gonna take Elemental Mastery, but try and avoid it if at all possible. Level 75... Okay, so a couple of things you can pick here. Conductivity, not really. If we're being asked to actually cast a heal, like Greater Healing Wave, or Healing Surge, or Chain Heal, or Healing Rain, then, yeah. Something's gone horribly wrong. If we've got to that situation with all the healing cooldowns that we pack as an Elemental Shaman, then something has gone drastically wrong, and we should rethink our role in our raid. Rushing Streams. Your Healing Stream totem now heals two targets at once for 15% additional healing. It's actually not that bad sometimes, but it's not as good as Ancestral Guidance. When you deal direct damage or healing over the next 10 seconds, 40% of your damage is converted into healing. 3 nearby injured party or raid members. Doesn't sound like a lot, but over 10 seconds, you can put out some obscene healing. I'm not even joking. This thing is fucking incredible. It's crazy good. I love it. So that's my recommendation for your raiders. At level 90... you got two choices pretty much. Elemental Blast. Yeah, Elemental Blast is the go-to standard run-of-the-mill. You've got to be picking this up in nearly all cases. If you have, again, something that needs to die, ASAS fucking P, Primal Elementalist does have that super burst that you can put out on demand. It's like, this has to die. Dropping a Fire Elemental Totem all over that thing's sweaty balls is going to put down the big boot. So the Primal Elementalist and Elemental Mastery, if it is needed. But try and avoid it again, if possible, and rock with the Elemental Blast. On to Glyphs. Okay, so you have several choices here. It generally comes down to what you prefer, right? Although there are a lot of choices there, some of them are situational at best. Spirit Walker's Grace, I absolutely love. Not that elementals have any problem with movement. As you can see, the lightning bolt is absolutely fantastic for jumping around and casting on the move, and it makes every other caster in the world absolutely jealous. However, if you want to make you're going to be moving for a while, which you tend to be actually, if you can't reposition enough during a lightning bolt or a couple of lightning bolts to get ready for some sort of movement, then you're going to need to want to cast Lava Burst and Elemental Blast while we're moving. As such, having that extra time on the Spirit Walker's Grace, I find pretty useful, actually. I find it very useful pretty regularly. Glyph of Chain Lightning, the absolute mustard of the Elemental Shaman. Chain Lightning, you now want this. This is so much extra damage when you can make use of it, okay? Chain Lightning hitting some extra targets now deals 10% less damage. Doesn't matter. If you're regularly, like you are in a raid, going to be hitting a lot of targets with your Chain Lightning, oh, baby. Oh, just look how beautiful it is. Then that glyph is going to be a major source of damage, okay? It's kind of one of the only mandatory glyphs, or mandatory glyphs, that most people are going to be taking. Not many people take this anymore. I do. You'll see me cast it every now and again in a raid. I'll probably make a bit of a fuss about it in the gameplay video as well. I really like it. 10% less damage, especially if you're doing some LFRs and stuff like I do to demonstrate things for you guys. Then it can save some lives, is what I've got to say there. It can save some guys, because it you know, Healing Street Totem searches out for the guy who's in the weakest position health-wise, and then it tries to give them a little bit of a 10% damage reduction. That can save lives every now and again, but again, it's not amazing. It's nowhere near as good as it once was. That's what we've got to say. It's nowhere near as good as it once was. Also, bear in mind the Glyph of Fire Elemental, which was kind of mandatory in the past. Not so much anymore, okay? Just reduce the cooldown duration of your elemental totem by 50%. Well, I will say it's situational at best. Do you have something coming up pretty regularly that will get a huge damage bonus if you have your fire elemental out, then that glyph's going to be beneficial to you. So again, it's decided what the encounter wants, more than what you think is like the default build. It's what the encounter wants, as is with most of these things. Similar with Grounding Tome, we've got to give it a shout, I suppose. Instead of absorbing a spell, Grounding Tome reflects the next harmful spell back at its caster. Sometimes that can pay off. Not all the time, but again, learn your encounters and you should be fine. Also bear in mind the Glyph of Thunderstorm. Remove that knockback, please, for the love of fucking Christ. Please, please, please. Love it. Okay, on to your gear. Mastery, 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 guys. Absolutely so much mastery. 51.72%. Not amazingly geared, this Ellie Shaman, but he's certainly a ton of fun about this gear level. You guys will be able to outgear him pretty damn quickly. That duplication of spells, again, working alongside that idea of the Echo of the Elements. Wow. Once your spells start duplicating, you start becoming this absolute turret of pain. And you'll just see your spells just doubled and doubled and doubled. And I always try and do... There you go. You see double Elemental Blast firing off. Double Lightning Bolts firing off. Oh, you become a machine gun. You become an absolute machine gun of spells once this stuff starts to work together. And that's what you want to be. This furious, vengeful fucking turret of nature's fury. That's how I like to look at my Elemental Shaman. But you don't have to roleplay if you don't want to. So you're going to be getting as much mastery as possible. Obviously getting your hit cap. Real easy to do. Your worst stat is Critical Strike, because as you well know, Lava Burst has a 100% chance to crit. Therefore, your primary damage source, which is your Lava Burst, actually gets zero benefit at all from Critical Strike rating. So crit just sucks balls for the Ellie Shaman, okay? That is just the be-all and end-all, and that is the thinking behind it. Crit just sucks because our main source of damage always crits, so we don't need it. As such, your hit cap is your priority. Then get your mastery up as much as possible and slap on some haste if you have some spare stats. As such, yeah, gemming is real easy. If we've got any yellow sockets, we're just going to stick a pure mastery slot in there. If we've got any red ones, going for expertise mastery. Again, hidden mastery, our top two sets. And if we have any blue sockets, I can find some. There, Spirit Mastery, okay? Bear in mind your set bonus. It's not always the best. Like 60 in? Not really. But there you go. Those kind of decisions you can make on the fly. Is your set bonus worthwhile? Certainly if that was 60 crits or even 120 crit or even a 300 crit, I probably would not pick up that set bonus. But if you see something like this, 180 in, kind of worth it, because we're going to get a load of expertise and we're going to get a load of mastery on top of that. Mastery, 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 guys. Dead easy, dead simple. Okay, how do we play this? As I said, I kind of opened my big mouth and said this is super easy. I'm going to change to a troll. I can't stand orc animations, but that's just me. Your number one priority is to keep a fire totem down. So your Searing Totem is going to be your go-to. Of course, your Fire Elemental Totem is a very powerful cooldown, and you'll want to use that at the pull and pretty much whenever else you need it on cooldown. Bear in mind, of course, if you need it for a specific part of a fight, then noticeably use it at the right time. So Flame Shock up 100% of the time on your primary target. This is single target, of course. And our priority works like this. Lava Burst is our #1 priority. Elemental Blast is our next priority. Our actual next priority, in fact I don't have a lightning shield, well spotted by me, it's going to be Earth Shock at 6 or 7 stacks of Lightning Shield, thanks to that Rolling Thunder aspect, okay? So I'm going to play it for a second. Keep that Flame Shock on. Elemental Blast, and your Lava Burst off cooldown and Elemental Blast. There's that Earth Shock proccing there, that Fulmination. Use that. Bear in mind that your Shock has a 6-second cooldown, therefore just watch how long your Flame Shock has left, and then simply working whether you can fit that Earth Shock in. Remember, it can be used at 6 or 7 Lightning Shield stacks, and you will be more than fine. So I've got 11 seconds here. There's the 6 stack. Going to use the Earth Shock there to reset this because I'm going to be Flame Shocking in the next couple of seconds, and I don't want to miss out on one of them. I have some way of tracking your totems. You can see I've got Searing Totem tracking here. Your Earth Elemental is a viable DPS cooldown. It will come after your Fire Elemental, so make sure that you are using that and tracking it in some fashion to get the most out of those pets. Okay, I like to call them pets. They are essentially, as much as they are totems. Very simple idea, guys. Flame Shock on 100% of the time. Fire Totem down 100% of the time. After that, Lava Burst on cooldown, Elemental Blast on cooldown. Other than that, you're just filling with your Lightning Bolt. But bear in mind, the big trick to playing an Elemental Shaman is you can move while casting your Lightning Bolt, which means you should take every opportunity while Lightning Bolting to actually find ways and means of getting into a better position. Don't be the guy that abuses that he can move while under the effects of Lightning Bolt while waiting for a reason to move, okay? Really not a clever thing to do. If you have an easy way of moving around, use it. If I have to cast a couple of Lightning Bolts, maybe I could just move myself a couple of steps. And now I've got my Lava Burst and my Elemental Blast. And now I'm going back to the old Lightning Bolt and the Earth Shocking, okay? Very simple stuff, guys. And once you get used to it, you can easily spot your mistakes, which is what I love about the Ellie Shaman. You can spot where your problems lie. Of course, we've got our 2 big cooldowns. One, our Raid cooldown, which is our Stormlash Totem. Keep a track on that. And then, of course, well, we've got to do this, haven't we? Yeah! Who doesn't love it? Who doesn't love it? It's glorious, isn't it? A couple of tips for Ascendants, especially if you're doing your pull. Your pull will look something like Fire Elemental Totem down, Flame Shock on, and what I always suggest is you cast your first spell be the Elemental Blast. And that is the reason that sometimes we do get the proc of Elemental Blast not being Critical Strike as it is here. Thanks for trolling me during the video, Ellie Blast. It might be the haste or it might be the mastery, okay? In which case, then we pop our Ascendants and go into mad Lava Burst spam. And what we have then is this wonderful idea of our extra buffs being on while we're spamming so many Lava Bursts. So those Lava Bursts could be under the effects of extra mastery, which means we're doing so many more and just machine gunning them in. Or they could be under the effects of haste, which gives us, again, more Lava Bursts to be casting on. So single target, that is how you're going to rock and roll. Multi-target, obviously the first things first. Get rid of Lightning Bolt, you're going to be Chain Lightning. But you still keep your single target priority. So Fire Totem down, Flame Shock on. And what we're going to do is actually spread our Flame Shock around, okay? We're going to spread our Flame Shock around. And what we're going to do is start Flame Shocking. So if we've got 2 to 3 targets, we're using our Flame Shock. We're going to get that on 3 of those targets. So we've got 3 targets DPS. Obviously using your first one as a source. You can even squeeze in the occasional Earth Shock in the middle of here if you're doing it right. And what you'll see is you get a lot more Lava Bursts, these Lava Surge procs, okay? So we're keeping... See how many more I'm getting now? That's what we're after, is just Lava Burst after Lava Burst. And just replacing your Lightning Bolt with the Chain Lightning, okay? So that's 2 to 3 targets. Very simple, 2 to 3 targets. Keep your Flame Shock on all of them. It's very easy to do. You won't struggle with it at all. I have no doubt you guys can cope very easily. And all you're doing is swapping around your Lightning Bolt for that Chain Lightning. Very, very easy. As soon as we get to 4 targets or plus, everything goes out the window and we go full retard, Elemental Shaman style, and we just Special Chain Lightning over and over and over and over again. Really do not worry about your Fulmination. It takes quite a bit of damage to make up for that Fulmination's global cooldown compared to a Chain Lightning, which is possibly costing Echo the Elements and a Mastery proc as well. It is just as soon as we get to 4 targets, guys, everything's forgotten about and we're just doing this over and over and over and over again. And you know what? It looks terrific, so have fun with that. That's why I said it's pretty simple to lay it down, okay? Simple priority. I'm going to do a gameplay video for you now, guys. I hope you enjoy it. See you again. Bye.